very much have had a fondness for tea for a long time. I still kind of consider it something to be almost sacred or special. You know, it's more of something for me to reflect over, or a tool to create a space of reflection and contemplation. You know, I remember, getting up to Camp Navistar, which is the camp on the border between Kuwait and Iraq, shortly after President Bush, got up on an aircraft carrier and declared mission accomplished. And, I was motivated. I was like, we're gonna go provide some humanitarian relief. I'm gonna help, fix some bridges and stuff, and I'm gonna go home a hero. And I remember there were these, little kids willing to jump on a semi-truck to get food and water. And I thought at the time, so Hua, these are the kids we're here to help. The whole time I was deployed, I was offered tea by the Third Country Nationals, which is a massive migrant labor force that the U.S. military depends on. It's basically slave labor. And they come up to us and they say, hey, we need food. And we tell them it's not our job to feed you. These were guys hauling our supplies. And despite that, these men that had nothing would turn to us and offer us tea. And then we would refuse it. Everyone that we were there to help and liberate, we were simultaneously dehumanizing and abusing. And so I never had tea my entire deployment, not once. The contradictions of American exceptionalism and occupation just were too much. And I kind of lost faith in a lot of the things I believed in, and I would start to figure out, what could I still hold on to? I got out of the Illinois National Guard and I joined Iraq Veterans Against the War. One of their allies was this group called U.S. Labor Against the War. They wanted to host an international labor conference to talk about worker issues in Iraq in the midst of the occupation. And after I was done speaking, this man jumps up in the back of the auditorium and starts yelling something really loud in Arabic and just booking down towards the stage. And I'm like, okay, well, this is it. This guy's gonna come beat me up. And just as he comes up on stage, I hear the translation come through the little earpiece, and it's, I just want to come up on stage and give this gentleman a hug. And he grabs me and he hugs me. And I just started to bawl. This man, he was in the Iraqi military and fought against the invading forces and forced the British military out of his oil fields. And there he was hugging me. And they brought me off stage and they brought me out of the auditorium and they sat me down. And they offered me tea. Tea that for the very first time I accepted. The Tea Project is an ongoing project in collaboration with Amber Ginsberg. I originally began the project in 2009 out of a return trip to Iraq in order to share all the generosity to spite and to create a space for people to sit, sip tea, and reflect about living in a constant state of war. I asked Amber to join the project in 2013 to help cast one porcelain teacup for each person that's been detained in Guantanamo. We've pushed the project further and expanded it to include all these forms of presentation and installation. From the middle of my deployment, I've committed my life to using creative practices to counter destruction, to counter the dehumanization that too much of our world is consumed by.